Before rushing into another week, remember. Remember what worked. Remember what you learned. Remember the prayer that was answered. Remember the person who helped. Remember the strength you discovered. Remember the moment you almost quit, but didn't. Growth becomes easier to overlook when we're constantly focused on what's next. Reflection helps us recognize that God has already been present in places we were too busy to notice. Pray this prayer. Father, before I ask you for what's next, thank you for what has already been. Help me remember your provision, lessons, protection, opportunities, and grace. Give me eyes to recognize goodness that busyness may have caused me to overlook. Amen. Gratitude turns yesterday's evidence into tomorrow's encouragement. Sometimes the faith you need for tomorrow is hiding inside what God already brought you through. Before you start another week, don't forget to look backward, not to live there, to remember. Psalm 103 says, "Forget not all his benefits." We spend so much time thinking about what's next that we can forget what God has already done. Think about this week. What did you learn? Where were you protected? Who encouraged you? What did you finish? Where did you grow? What prayer was answered differently than you expected? Remembering isn't living in the past, it's gathering evidence for the future. Before planning Monday, write down 3 things you're grateful for from this week. Psalm 103 verse 2 reminds us not to forget God's benefits. This Sunday reflection explores how gratitude and intentional remembrance help us recognize growth, God's provision, answered prayers, lessons, and encouragement before entering a new week. Before asking, "What's next?" take a moment to ask, "What has already been good? What did God teach you? What did you survive? Where did you grow? Who helped you? What prayer was answered?" Remembering yesterday's faithfulness can strengthen tomorrow's faith. Before another week begins, remember. What did you learn? Where did you grow? What are you grateful for? Don't forget the good. Don't rush into another week without recognizing what this one gave you. Remember the lessons. Remember the growth. Remember the grace. Remember the good and why reflection should come before your next goal. Our culture is very good at asking one question. What's next? What's the next goal? The next project? The next accomplishment? The next opportunity? Psalm 103 gives us another discipline. There is wisdom in occasionally looking backward, not because we're supposed to live in the past, but because the past contains evidence. Evidence that you survived something difficult. Evidence that you've learned. Evidence that people showed up. Evidence that prayers were answered. Evidence that mistakes became lessons. Evidence that God was present. Before creating next week's goals, spend a few minutes reviewing the week you're completing. Write down, one thing God taught me, one thing I'm grateful for, one way I grew, one person who made a difference, one thing I want to carry forward. Then move into the new week with gratitude instead of constantly feeling behind. Sometimes the encouragement you need for what's ahead is already sitting inside the story of where you've been.